Hello everyone, and thanks for watching Edupedia World videos. This is Sabiuddin Ahmad Siddiqui, and now we are continuing with the part 15, where you will understand about the literals, which mean valid literals. And what are literals? We will have to take a look of each one by one, and why we need to include this thing. Basically, students do not have this concept that they are well aware of using type with the letters and with the literals as well. So we will be continuing with the valid literals. So we are moving on to literals. Now basically a literal is a fixed value representation in the source code, and you can see the specification of these. You have seen in the block that you can specify any value as a literal using the following as under. We have basically 5 types of literals. The first one is integer literals, second one is floating literals, third one is character literals, fourth one is string literals, and the fifth one is the Boolean literals. So by seeing this, maybe you have got the clue that why I have included this thing, or basically you will have come to know about the use of literals. So keep watching. Now first of all, we have integer literals. Now here I would like to just make your concept clear. Basically literals we are used in different ways, and simply is that if you assign some values to any variable, let's suppose age, take the variable age as a type integer. Now if you take in age as integer type, you cannot assign a string to it. So if I write age equals or John's age, so this become invalid because age cannot be a person's name. So you can write clearly the number which assigns the age as that age can be 100 years. If you have set the limit to 100 years, let's suppose if the age is greater than 100, then you have to re-input the age. So in this connection we can continue with this explanation that integer types consist of the primitive data types, which includes integer, long, byte and short. Byte, integer, long and short can be expressed in decimal base 10, hexadecimal base 16 or octal base 8 number systems as well. You can see the prefix 0 is used to indicate octal and prefix 0x indicates hexadecimal when you use these number systems for literals. Now integer decimal equals to 100, integer octal equals to 0, 1, 4, 4, and then integer hexa equals to 0 into 64. That means you are assigning and allocating the values according to their types and literals. So they are the valid literals to these variables you have defined. As I have just quoted the example that if age cannot be the person's name, or age is a type of integer and you are going to assign a string to it, so it cannot be the valid literal. So continuing with the next, that is floating point literals. So now what is floating point? Same is the thing which I have just explained to you. Basically now if you take a look of this explanation, these numbers are like real numbers in mathematics. For example, 4.13179 to 0.000001. They are of types in Java as float and double. The default type when you write a floating point literal is double, but you can designate it explicitly by appending the d or d suffix. However, the suffix f or f, small f, is appended to designate the data type of the floating point literal as float. We can also specify a floating point literal in scientific notations using exponent, short e or small e. For instance, the double literal 0.0314e2 is interpreted as, you can see the example, 0.0314 multiply by 10 in raised to the power 2, that is 3.14. so you can take that this is the pi value. Now on the other hand, 6.5e plus 32 or 6.5e32, double precision floating point literal. Double precision means you can see 6.5 with exponent plus 32, that means 32 further zeros after 5. So this can be the double precision floating. And 7D7 double precision floating point literal, 0.01f floating point literal. So basically, if you are not still clear about this thing, when you will store the values, let's suppose percentage, I have discussed you before. So percentage can be the variable with the float or double. So you just need to know about that, how to store decimal values and how to store exponential values. So these are the values which you have to store in different variables with the valid literals. So we are understanding to know about the variable with the valid literals, and valid literals means the valid values assigned to each variable. So I hope you will understand this thing. So continuing with the next, now character literals. Now you can say the character literals. Yes, character literals, for example, it could be used for yes or no values. Now basically character literals or character literal is a single 16-bit Unicode character. You can specify a character literal as a single printable character in a pair of single quote characters, such as single quote A, that means only one character, single quote buffer sign, that means only one character, single quote 3, or any number, any digit value means character value. That means you have held the simple character. So that means that you are dealing with the characters. On the other hand, if you take a look of the escape sequence table, that will show you that \n will increment the new line, \t will move one tab ahead the cursor, then \b will just remove one space back, then \r means carriage return, which is known as enter key, that means it will automatically press the key. Then \f means form feed. Form feed basically used in printers format, where you want to just scroll the page, so this is automatically, and this can be used as a control character or controlling the item of the printer page movement. Now double backslash means backslash, that means you are putting the single slash before the text or something which you are trying to include some message. Or single slash, single quote, that means single quotation mark. Then you have slash and then double quote, that means double quotation mark. Then for example, if you are enclosing the string with the double quotes, so within the double quotes you will further explain this thing with the help of backslash, double single quote, double quote, or backslash. So you have to remember that while expressing these escape sequence, you must remember the flow and the writing method too, or you can say the syntax and the grammar of this language. So now continuing with the /d means octal, /xd means hexadecimal, and /ud means Unicode character. So basically these are the escape sequence, and normally this is related to the C and C++ as well. You can use these escape sequence in C language and C++ to some extent, and their hexadecimal, octal, and Unicode characters are different, so somehow they are supporting to each other. So I hope that this will help you out. Let's suppose I have just explained you in the beginning of this, that means if you want to use single literals, yes, no, on, off, or any type of value which you can see, which you can hold only one type of character, y for yes and for no. So character y equals to single yes or y or no for n and something like that. So I hope you will understand this thing. Continuing with the next. Now this is Unicode Escape Sequence. You can use Unicode Escape Sequence to represent printable and non-printable characters. U single quote, you can see single quote U0041 single quote close. Then this is for capital letter A. Then you have single quote \U0030 single quote close, digit zeros value. Then you have single quote \U0022 single quote close, double quote value. This is used to print double quote value. Then you have single quote \U003B single quote close. This will produce the punctuation semicolon mark. Now then you have single quote \U0020 single quote close. Then it will produce space or the space key. Now you have the last one, or you have lots of keys while continuing with the escape sequence for Unicode. I have just included the few ones so that you can get familiar with this. Single quote \u0009 single quote close, which is used for horizontal tab. So in this way you can understand the escape sequence as well while understanding literals. So they are also the literals. If the value goes wrong from this, so this becomes the invalid literal of the particular type, and the particular value and the character is stored in it. Now continuing with the next. Now we have string literals here. As we know already that if we want to store something in a form of a string, that means more than one character. Character literal means only one character, and when we talk about string literal, so they are more than one characters. You need to use double quote for string literals. There are few methods. For example, in Java you can use to combine strings, modify strings, and to know whether two strings have the same values. For example, if these two strings, string 1 s1 s2, if you want to concatenate that, let's suppose I love Java programming, you stored I love Java in one string, string s1, and the second one love Java programming, programming in the next variable, that is s2. So when you will combine them with the plus operator, so the string will concatenate. Concatenate means it will merge the sentence, or it will merge both the variables into one sentence, and when you print it out or store it in s3 and you print s3, so this will combine both the s1 and s2. That means it will apply the plus sign. Plus sign means it will join the both the strings s1 s2, and then it will store the result in s3. If you are printing the s3 variable, so you will see the total characters will show you the joined value. Let's suppose I love to learn Java programming, so this whole sentence will be displayed through s3, that is where you stored s1 and s2 with the help of plus operator, that is known as concatenation. Now continuing with this, so you can see double quote, the empty string, you can see double quote \, and double quote again, a string containing. Then you have double quote, this is a string. I have just given you this example, and the next example which is coming ahead. So this is a string containing 16 characters. You can see, you can count how to count the strings within the double quote. THIS4 space 5 IS 7 space 8 A9 space 10, then string 11 12 13 14 15 16 STRING. They are 5 letters, so they become 6 letters. There are 6 letters. Now this becomes 16 letters, 16 characters, right? So now this example in front of you. Now you are going to concatenate. This is a 2-line string. Now this is a, you have stored in one string. It could be, or it could have a name s1 equals to, this is a double quote close, then s2 will be 2-line string, will store in s2, and then when you join or to store in s3, so s3 will be, this is a plus 2-line string, will join these two strings into one, that is known as s3. Now actually a string valued constant expression formed from two string literals. So these are the string literals, that means a valid message or valid parameters. So this is what the string literal is. So you have seen that string literals store and can be beneficial in different ways, where we can store different values in different strings and then we can join them through the plus operator. So I hope you will understand this concept. And coming on to the next one, now null literals. What is null literal? Basically when you want to assign the null, that means the variable is declared but having no values. So you specify the null literal in the source code as null. This reduces the number of references to objects. Its type is always null. You typically assign null literals to object reference variables. That means where the object is referencing the variable, you have to make it null. Or let's suppose, for example, s equals to null. That means s is staying in the program but it has no value. That means we have not assigned any 0, 1 or any constant value, but it is null. That means you can use at any time. So commission equals to null, so this is all the same time. you have declared the variable with the type. I have not mentioned the type over here, but you have assigned s equals to null, or we can use this in different ways. So I hope you understood this thing, and when we will be using them as in a program, you will see that how they are used. Now coming on to the last one, that is Boolean literal. Now Boolean literals, what they are, as you know that I have already explained this thing in the very first program, that set visible true and false concept, so you have to keep this in mind. So now coming to understand this, that the values are set as true and false, treated as literals in Boolean. When we assign a value to a Boolean variable, we can only use these two values. It cannot be applied using C, where you assume that the value of 1 is equivalent to true and 0 is equivalent to false in Java. Extremely unsupported in Java. So always make sure that whenever you are assigning any Boolean literals, so make sure that in Java especially you are assigning true or false only. So example, Boolean chosen equals to true, that means the choice equals to yes or no, or true and false. So as we knew about this thing, that Java supports only true and false, so you have to use only true and false. That's it. Keep focusing on it. Boolean chosen equals to true, that means if the choice is chosen, or if it is chosen, so then it value becomes true or false. Now remember that the literal true or false is not represented by the quotation mark around it. Always remember that you put the quotation mark and then put the true in between, and the quotation marks are enclosed, or you are just enclosing the quotation marks. So keep that in mind, that all these literals have different values and importance, which you have to run parallelly while writing the program. So just to know and to just make your mind illuminated all times whenever you are writing a program to Java. So I hope you will understand these literals and the concepts of literals and the types where we consider literals. So I hope you will like this. So I'm hopeful that in the next video you will see about the operators, and we will understand the operators, and then we will continue with the programming interface where we will be using all these. So keep watching. I hope you will like this, and thanks for watching.